What's up, it's Marco, Sage Soccer. Today, we talk about U.S. men's national team players who have a good chance to shine in Belgium this year. I realized we weren't going to talk about Belgium individually this year until, well, today. Owen Otasowie started for Club Bruges in the Belgian Super Cup, and he's the first American to win a trophy this season. Great job by Owen. He had a pretty solid game at center back. I really had forgotten how fast he is. He's an elite athlete. He's really talented on the ball, and he has every tool that you need to become a top player. And you still got to put it all together. I mean, obviously last year was just a complete wash due to personal issues. There was probably an injury in there somewhere as well. But he's came back, participated in preseason, and he looks like a great player. He's already started for them when he hadn't even played for the team before. So that's really positive for Owen Otasowie, and he's looking good at a center back. And I gotta say, center back is a position that the U.S. men's national team need. For Owen in particular, I don't think it's realistic to call him in for 2022. Even though he has been with the squad before, and we could use his athleticism and technical ability out of the back, I don't think he will have had enough games under him and really built up that reliability there. But if we're call him in September and he's playing the whole time, I wouldn't really be mad at that. He's a guy who I see all the positive traits for. He has everything you need. He doesn't need to put it all together. He needs to get used to playing that center back spot. And if he shows anything, hey, he's more talented than a good amount of defenders we have in our team. So I'd be willing to give him a look. But, I mean, talent's not the only thing in the world. You need to have players with experience and players who can play together. And maybe Owen will have that, but we're going to have to give it a look eventually, but it's way too early to be calling for that. However, with the next guy I want to talk about, I think he could very easily be in the World Cup squad, and that's McKenzie. He had been a starter for the team in 2021, though he really did not perform well in the Nations League, and he was honestly kind of criticized a lot when he was called up, and I think that was undeserved criticism because McKenzie is similar to Owen Otasowie. He has the physical abilities. He's very good on the ball, and he was a better MLS. He was the best center back in the MLS in 2020. He's a very good player. He's better than Walker Zimmerman. He's better than Aaron Long. He just hasn't been playing enough games, and when it comes time to start for the national team, he's unprepared. We give Zach Steffen a pass for those mistakes. I don't know why we don't give McKenzie a pass for them, because, like I said before, MLS best 11. He was an amazing player. He got to move to Club Bruges, and they just rotate their center backs so much, and he hasn't really been getting a look in. He's one of those guys, if he stayed in the MLS, he'd be in the national team. He'd be starting for sure, but he'd be a worse player. So it's a tough trade-off. I hate that we have to make our players make safe decisions when they should be trying to get better. But McKenzie, if he gets a complete run of games and if he's playing a lot for Genk, I want him back in the national team in September. I want him back in the national team in September anyway. But if he shows out, I think he's somebody we have to give a look into the roster. I'll be honest, we had him in the team for a reason. He was starting for a long time for a reason. And he has the ability to play that left center back role, which, if we're not going to call John Brooks back to the team, that's nobody's there. So Chris Richards can play there, but it's not ideal. And he's a guy I want to see get another look, but not sure if it's going to happen. I'd really like it to, though. And then lastly, we had some players move to the second tier. I think we have Griffin Yao. We've got a guy from Crystal Palace loaning to the second tier. But for U.S. men's national relevant players, we got three fullbacks to talk about: Bryan Reynolds, Kyle Duncan, and Sam Vines. Bryan Reynolds is probably the closest to breaking into the national team, or at least he should be. He's kind of weird to talk about because right back is such a weird position for us right now. I thought it was our position with the most depth this time last year, but now we've got Serginho Dest, and she's not looking good. Joe Scally, I still think he's probably our best backup, and that's not really a compliment to Scally. I think he's very inexperienced. He has a lot of growing to do, but DeAndre Yedlin's bad. Reggie Cannon offers nothing going forward and is not perfect defensively either. It's Joe Scally by default, and if Bryan Reynolds can have a good year, maybe he can make an impact, but I really don't see that happening. Jose Mourinho's letting him go for a reason. I don't think he's ready for being like a top 5 level player or top 5 league quality player. And if he's not ready for that type of quality, then I don't think he's going to make a real impact at the World Cup. So I'm fine with leaving him out. Then we got Sam Vines, who, like, he's fine. Like, it's good for him that he's getting some minutes in Europe, but if he was right-footed, he wouldn't even be in this conversation for the national team. We just have so little left-footed players that we're thinking about giving Jonathan Gomez a call for the World Cup. Like, I'd argue that it would be a good idea for Jonathan Gomez to be our backup left back for the World Cup, and I am not confident in him. It's just, I think the value of getting him cap-tied is worth any quality that we'd get from a backup left back. It's worth it instead. So, yeah, I don't really trust Sam Vines. And Kyle Duncan, he's a good player, but, like, honestly, I don't think he's better than Brooks Lennon, and I don't rate Brooks Lennon. It's like, just for MLS right backs, I don't think he was better than Brooks Lennon. Nate Harriel for the Philadelphia Union was looking pretty good. Julian Araujo when he was there. Aaron Herrera at Real Salt Lake. Like, I don't think he distinguishes himself from that group. Like, he's got some speed. We don't need speed. We've got a bunch of players with speed. Like, I don't think there's anything he can really do to distinguish himself. And yeah, that's really my thoughts on the players we have in Belgium right now. Owen Otasowie and Mark McKenzie, some really promising players. If Bryan Reynolds can get him going, like, he could be really good. I think this group is more for 2026, if anything. I'm hoping Mark McKenzie can make a push for the roster because I think he is good enough. And if Owen Otasowie gets a really good start to the year, he has to be considered because just straight up natural talent. He might be one of the best Americans. But, hey, like I said, more than talent. And yeah, that's really all I've talked about players in Belgium. Got a couple of prospects I didn't mention, but just for relevant U.S. men's national team players, feeling pretty good about this list. Good to see Owen Otasowie back. Hope to see Mark McKenzie starring. Yeah, that's all I'll talk about. See you.